What's up, everybody? It's CryptOpher. Just wanted to make sure that you guys get a little bit of commentary from me because I haven't been doing that in a while, and I'm driving right now, so I figured I have some time to do some commentary because it's one of the only times I have free. So forgive me if I don't look at you on the camera and I'm speaking to you, but I just wanted to do a quick cover on what's going on in the markets. So everybody seems to think I'm a fool for going into cryptocurrencies because they keep seeing cryptocurrencies falling down. But what you have to remember about cryptocurrencies or about any market is it's not about what the market is doing at the moment. It's about what point you entered into the market and then what it does after you're in it. So I am okay. You're seeing things falling in the markets. I'm still positive. And also when the markets were rallying, there was a period of time when the altcoins were not doing well. And thank you. There's a period of time when altcoins were not doing well and the main cryptocurrencies were doing well. So I was able to diversify my holdings out of some of the main cryptocurrencies into some of the altcoins. And we've seen a little bit of a reverse of that. But if you want to know my overall view of what the economy and what all assets are going to be doing is just look at what's going on in the economies around the world. You're seeing a lot of them are collapsing. You're seeing, the stocks of companies like Deutsche Bank going down. Now, keep in mind what Deutsche Bank is a holding company for all of the derivatives that are out there. And most people don't understand what derivatives are. And I was a commodities specialist before, so I tried to explain it to people. But explaining derivatives is difficult. All you need to know is that with a derivative, you don't need to hold or own an asset in order to have access to it. So derivatives give you leveraged access to certain assets, whether it's financial assets, commodities, or insurance products, things like that. We have derivatives on pretty much everything. So and usually in the past, what derivatives such as the futures or options markets were created for were to help producers of commodities in offsetting their unforeseen costs and windfalls, and help them realize a windfall from something that could potentially make them bankrupt. And it was a process called hedging. So typically if a farmer would produce, because the weather is so unpredictable and, it's hard for a farmer to produce a crop, typically, a farmer would dump a lot of money into fertilizer and time and effort in making a crop grow. And the outcome, he could spend 6 months doing it, and then the crop dies at the end of the 6 months, and the farmer loses all his investment or her investment. So they started going into the futures markets, which would give them the ability to hedge the approximate amount of production that they made. So let's say they made, I'll just do an arbitrary thing out there, 100,000 bushels of wheat. You could go into the commodities markets and find a futures contract for about the same amount without you having to go buy that actual wheat. You have access to it, and you can bet against the price of it. You can bet that it's going to go bad at the same time while you're growing wheat. And so if there's any potential loss that might occur, whether it be a price drop, an unforeseen price change, because there's a glut in the market, and at the time that you were producing it, there was a shortage, so the price was high, but all of a sudden this glut came from nowhere that you couldn't see. Sorry, it's not on a very sturdy mount, so it's bouncing around. Just close your eyes and listen rather than just look at me if that's the case, if you're getting distracted. But they could offset their potential losses that way. But it's leverage, so keep in mind, you don't own it, you don't hold it. It's like a credit card. Credit card is a derivative of money. It gives you access to money that you don't have, and it allows you to get leverage over it. In other words, you don't have to earn it and hold it yourself in order to have access to that money and to be able to buy things that you want. But the longer you hold it, you get what's called a margin call for the risks that's involved with holding a contract long term. So with a credit card, you get a credit card bill because you're being charged interest every month for holding that balance long term. If you're the type that doesn't like to pay more for something than you should, then you'd pay off your balance at the end of the month, and you won't be levied an interest charge going on to the next month. Well, same things with commodities or a futures or options contract, a derivative. Derivatives are leveraged. They give you access to the market, but you're going to have a penalty for having access to that market long term. So a derivatives contract is a short-term instrument. You don't want to be using it long term unless you're willing to pay that margin call every so often for holding it long term. Another way of thinking of a derivative is car insurance. Your insurance contract is a derivatives contract of your vehicle. Basically, you bought a vehicle at a certain price. It has a certain value attached to it, and you hope that nothing will ever take that value away from you. So you get an insurance contract that will cover the value of your vehicle and any potential damage that might happen if you use that vehicle and it lose control and strike someone else's property, or if you kill someone, or if someone that's not really insured under your policy drives your vehicle. I mean, of course, each insurance policy is different. You know, it depends on what you're willing to pay in terms of, quote, premium. And your premium each month is what you get for holding that contract long term. So each month you pay a premium, or you may pay it off at the year and pay a yearly or an annual fee, annual premium, to cover to have that contract cover your vehicle in the event of an unforeseen loss. All right, so economies have geared up all around the world. We live in a debt world, a debt economy, debt global system, because instead of people actually having the money to do things, they want to be able to have access. They're not getting paid enough, right? And the globalists have made it so that wages will not go up. They can't go up because they keep bringing in illegal immigrants. They bring in refugees. They bring in low-skill, low-wage people that compete with the high-skill, educated people. And the high-skill, educated people want to be paid a lot of money, and they want to also have a lot of benefits with their job, associated with their job. Those are the most expensive workers. So guess what? You get easily replaced. You get replaced by these illegal immigrants and all these people that, you know, they're low pay. They can't demand anything because they don't offer anything. And even now as they get more skills from working and stealing the jobs from Americans or people in the Western world where capitalism has created all the wealth and the communists or the globalists want to steal it, they want access to it, to things that they don't own. We're going into a world where governments and companies are going towards robotics and artificial intelligence to do the jobs of human beings, because even though the artificial intelligence can be skilled and can do it better than a human being, artificial intelligence will never demand a higher wage than a human being. At least with human beings, when they get more skills, they want higher wage and more benefits. But a robot, when it gets a new program that upgrades and makes it more important, it doesn't cost the company any more than it did before. It's just an initial investment and that's it. Boom. Then the rest is just a small software upgrade. Unless, of course, you have a damage to the robot, depending upon what industry you're in. If you're in manufacturing, okay, there's mechanics to it, that mechanical robots tend to get damaged over time because everybody gets damaged over time. Things age and they get weaker with repeated abuse and forces put on them. But it's a lot slower than a human being. A human being breaks down a lot easier and demands a lot more. It's an open mouth to feed. So we're going into this society where the globalists have made it so that wages can be cheap, but even if you're not working, it's cheap for you to borrow money and gain access to things you couldn't have access to before just because you didn't get a paycheck. And they're even making it so that even if you don't get a paycheck, you can still get credit. Well, those things are falling apart. And then the Deutsche Banks have derivatives on top of the credit, which amp up the amount of credit that's out there. And when those things go against them, I mean, if you know the leverage of a derivative, it can bankrupt you severely because it's so levered. It's giving you access to something that you don't own. So when you lose it, you basically have to pay for it. You have to make the one who does own it whole, because you just lost everything that they lent to you on a contract, on a derivative. And so we're seeing all this lending. We're built on lending. This entire global economy is built on things that you don't own. And so Europe is falling apart because of it, because the European Union is trying to get deals together and to force all the countries that are originally signed on to the European Union to follow all their rules and regulations so that they can gain access to certain markets. And unfortunately, when you're doing it as a giant group, it doesn't necessarily benefit you as an individual. It may benefit the group somewhat, but you may be left out because there are more people in the group that can decide what's best for them. And while you as an individual get drowned out in your voice, but you agreed to sign on, and so you're screwed. You're basically tied to the decisions of the majority. This is why America is unique and why people don't like America. All around the world, the Satanists and the evil socialist, communist people are trying to destroy America because they don't like that America bars access to things that people should actually earn. They want people to be able to have access no matter what. Doesn't matter your status, doesn't matter your whatever. They want to make you to be able to have money that you don't deserve. You don't have the education to manage it, but you should get access to it. So the potential for you losing it is high. So that's the problem with socialism, and that's what's been happening. You got all these markets that have given people access, and these people don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. They haven't done what they are supposed to do, whether it be education, whether it be follow the laws that govern citizenship. They've come here illegally. They've basically stolen their access, and they didn't deserve it. So they got access to things that gave them leverage, and they didn't know what to do with it. And as you know, with credit card bills, what can happen if you take out loans that you can't afford, or you saw with the housing market, which is a perfect example of what happens when you give too much debt for too cheap to people who don't belong in that market, and then build derivatives all on it. You see what happened in 2008 and beyond, the financial collapse that was so massive and so rapid, people didn't expect it. Well, it's happening again. But it's not just real estate. You've got it on everything. You got derivatives on everything. And then here comes along the nationalist movement. The people who now are upset because they've been robbed. People are coming into their countries, getting access to things that they don't deserve because they didn't go through the proper process to become citizens to gain access to those things. The citizens are actually being robbed, and they're being upset. They're getting upset, so they're voting for government that will remove them from these large trade associations, trade agreements, and everything like that. America voted for Trump. UK voted for Brexit, but they got conned, and you're not seeing Brexit happen. Brexit was a way for the globalists to give them what they thought they wanted, and then to deny it to them by delaying the actual implementation of Brexit. So the UK is still stuck in Europe. Italy has voted for a populist president, someone who would vote for or would do things for national interest and the betterment of Italy, because Italy's bankrupted by the European Union, and they want to exit the European Union. So guess what happened? The globalists just had their Bilderberg meeting and are going in there and showing how can they keep Italy in the European Union. But basically, European Union has fallen apart. So Italy voted for a populist, and the European Union basically said, we will not accept your vote. You're going to have to keep voting. So they give them the illusion of choice. You keep voting, and we're not going to take your vote away from you, but you're not going to get who you want. You're going to just keep voting until you get who we want, and then we'll let your vote go through. That is so garbage. And it's the way that the globalist communists work. They give you what seems to be your right, but they don't give you your right because you don't really get your choice. You don't get choice. The only way you get choice is in a place where like capitalism. And that's what Donald Trump is providing for us. And so they don't like what Donald Trump's doing. He's severing ties with all these bad treaties around the world and creating trade wars with China and the European Union and all these other countries and Canada and things like that. And the rest of the world doesn't understand it, but they're all going downhill. And you're seeing the dollar strengthen. So this gets back into my original topic of cryptocurrencies. You know, the dollar is strengthening. When the dollar strengthens, you use dollars to purchase all other forms of assets, whether it's cryptocurrencies, whether it's commodities, whether it's debt instruments like bonds, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks or equities. You use dollars. That's the main mechanism of transaction. And so with these trade agreements, you're going to see other countries falling apart and their currencies falling apart because governments tend to print money in order to make economies survive. So they're making their currencies devalue relative to the dollar. You see what happened in Iran. Iran's currency crashed, and what do people do? They go into Bitcoin and the dollar. You still use dollars to buy Bitcoin, so guess what? When the dollar strengthens, Bitcoin's going to drop a bit because people will sell Bitcoin to buy dollars in order to get some of that price appreciation out of the dollar because they're arbitraging. They are trading, looking for a profit. Whether you like it or not, everybody is a capitalist, and they want a profit. They're motivated by profit. They want more money. And so just offering more money to people will get them to leave something else. So cryptocurrencies, you see them dropping. And I'm fine with that. And since Bitcoin is the main cryptocurrency, it is the most widely known and widely used. You use it for now to buy other cryptocurrencies, except that's changing dramatically with atomic swaps. So today on Sunday, June 10th, we had a massive crash in the Bitcoin market. And, you know, you're going to see it in other cryptocurrencies as well. Do I care? No, I don't, because I love cryptocurrencies. And do I love Bitcoin? Nah, I think Bitcoin is, you know, it's past its rapid rise for right now until we get some major financial interest in it. But for now, it's done its thing. So I go through altcoins. We're seeing things like Litecoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash crashing. Fine with me. I love Litecoin. So Litecoin's already the cheapest of all the main four that are listed on Coinbase at least. So I would just use my paycheck to buy more Litecoin when the time comes. And I was able to, like I said, transfer some of my Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin holdings into some of the altcoins. So, you know, some of those rally when when the main ones aren't. Because people look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's expensive. 7,000, whatever it is right now, because it dropped and it may be dropping still. That's a lot to pay on one Bitcoin. Forget that. I'm not going to do that. Most people won't do that. If you're a multi-billionaire, maybe you would. But, you know, the average person is not going to put their life savings in something that's so expensive. So you're going to look at something that's an alternative, especially if you got altcoins that have forked off of the programming blockchain algorithms of Bitcoin. You know, it's the same as Bitcoin. Then it's an improved derivative of Bitcoin. So why not go with the improved derivative altcoin? You know, I'm into things like Redcoin. I bought a whole crap load of Redcoin. I bought a bunch of Theta Coin because they just listed it on Binance, and that made me happy. And it rallied a bit, and I waited for the rally to end and drop before I got into Theta. And I have a bunch of other coins like marijuana coins because I love the marijuana industry, but you can't use dollars to buy in that, or your bank account will shut down because they don't want to see you investing in marijuana. And I think that's ridiculous. You know, we have an opioid crisis because the government has regulated the weak drugs that are beneficial to you and demonize them to the point where people are going to the hard drugs like cocaine and heroin and morphine and OxyContin and all these other medications that they can get access to without as much penalty as the marijuana, and they're dying from the opioids instead. And people are getting depressed and committing suicide because they don't have the means of having their drug to give them some enjoyment. You know, something like marijuana that I don't see as being harmful, especially, you know, yeah, if you smoke it, anything you smoke burns. You're inhaling carbon and carbon dioxide. Yeah, that'll kill you over time. But if you're doing it through something like a bong cleans out all the impurities. Doesn't do it all like 100%, but it does a majority of it, where you're getting just what you want out of the drug, the THC. And the THC is shown to be beneficial. They discovered something in our body called the endocannabinoid system, which helps your body heal. And guess what? Marijuana is called cannabis sativa. It has cannabinoids. So if you have an endocannabinoid system in your body and you're putting cannabinoids in your body, the body is designed to use that to help you heal. I'm all for it. And I love that Donald Trump is all for it. You hear Jeff Sessions, he's like against marijuana, because Jeff Sessions is a deep state crackhead, and we're seeing it. He hasn't done anything. Donald Trump appoints people so that they'll reveal themselves for who they are, and you get to see that they don't really support countries and nationalism. They instead fight against it, and then he fires them, or they get arrested. Like McCabe is pleading for his life. He lost his pension because he got fired right before his retirement. He is now being revealed as a leaker and a conspirator against Donald Trump. And so he doesn't want to go to prison for the rest of his life because he already lost his pension. So he is coordinating to work with law enforcement and agreeing to help them so that he gets immunity. Because the FBI is corrupt. The CIA is corrupt. It's what President Dwight Eisenhower warned us about all those years ago, that the military-industrial complex would start to get involved in our political system, and America would be undermined by an unknown secret society now, or secret government that would run things. We'd vote for a president, but then these CIA assassins would assassinate him if he did anything that was in our favor. And so we're starting to see that to be the truth, that to be the case. And even John F. Kennedy warned us about secret societies and how they are repugnant to a society that loves freedom and independence. And look what happened to him. They took him out. So Trump is doing a lot of things that are undermining that deep state. Will he be able to cure it completely in his one term? No way. I don't believe that. No way. I believe it's too deep. It's called deep state for a reason. It's too deeply rooted. There's too much corruption. It's not just in this country. It's in all the other countries. It's in our media. So you watch the news, and the news will tell you, oh, look, the summit between Kim Jong-un and President Trump is called off. It's over, and North Korea is going to start a war. And what do we hear next? No, the reality of it is Kim Jong-un wanted to have the summit with Trump in Singapore, and they're having it now. So the media is being revealed for the lying deep state co-conspirators that they are. And it's happening in everything, including the markets. So you can see the banks go in. The banks are threatened by cryptocurrencies because cryptocurrencies eliminate the need for a bank. If I don't even need dollars. If I have a Bitcoin in my wallet, whether it's a ledger, hard wallet, a paper wallet, or I don't recommend you keep it on an exchange, but if you have it on an exchange, you don't ever need to go with a bank. I mean, you go to Amazon Prime and they accept Bitcoin, so you can buy all your stuff in Bitcoin there. You don't ever need to go to a bank and exchange for dollars. It's already deposited. You don't need to get permission to withdraw. The banks will overcharge you. Let's say you get down to they have a minimum balance. Let's say it's $300 and you're at $10. They will service charge you $12 for your $10 because you're below your $300 limit. They will overdraw your account by $2, and then they'll charge you an additional fee of, let's say, $35 because your account is overdrawn. Oh, these are the banks? If I have Bitcoin and I have my Bitcoin in a wallet, I'm just using Bitcoin because most people know Bitcoin. Not that I have Bitcoin, because I'm not gonna sell my altcoins for Bitcoin until I see them rally dramatically, and I'm just holding because I know it's not going to happen right away. And I think there may be a financial collapse first before people actually look at cryptocurrencies, because people are too afraid of the technology. They don't understand it. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. The few of us that do, every time it drops and there's blood in the streets, I buy, because that's what how speculators make your money. Because speculation is not investment. Investment, you put money in and you get an immediate dribble of money back. You're getting immediate returns on your investment. Speculation isn't like that. You're betting now. You put money in and you're betting the price could go up. Will it go up? Not for sure. Could go down and you could lose everything. Or you could lose a portion of what you initially invested. So speculation is totally different. So the way you make money on speculation is you don't buy in when they're like, oh yeah, cryptocurrencies, they're great. Look at the next bull market is coming. When you hear the next bull market is coming, that's when you should get scared, especially when everyone's like, yeah, the bull market is here. We're ready to run. Da, 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 da. That's when I go, yeah, okay, I'm ready to buy when it drops. Because I know you freaking idiots are suckering in a lot of people, and the big wigs are going to sell at that point. And a lot of people who pump or who make that sale are the ones who actually own a lot of it, and they know it's going to drop more, so they pump it so that you buy in, and they can unload it onto you. I'm not that type of person. I'll tell you the reality of the speculation. The speculation is not guaranteed, and nothing I give you is an investment advice. I'll usually tell you what I'm doing, and if you decide to follow it, that's on you. But you assume all the risk because you're an adult. I don't go and take your hand and put your money in for you. So you can't blame me if you decide, because I'm not a licensed advisor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And if you decide to do it, that's on you. So with that said, I will give you the honesty, though, of a market. And I'll tell you that speculation, any market where you're not getting an immediate return on investment is a speculative market. If you buy real estate can be speculative or it can be an investment. If you buy a house and you expect the price to go up and you want to sell and then make your money then, that is called speculation. If you buy a house and you rent it out and you're getting money back in return for renting it out, that is an investment. So that's the difference between investing and speculating. I am a speculator, and I'm a hodl till I die type of speculator. I look at the cryptocurrencies as a cutting-edge technology, and I see that it's the way that we can have money. Do I love gold and silver? Yes. Gold and silver to me are always money, but you cannot send gold and silver to the moon. And if we are becoming a technologically advanced society, and we're going to be soon leaving this planet for Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, or other galaxies, you know, you don't want to have a bar of gold. You can't just chuck a bar of gold to Saturn. It's too freaking heavy. But you can base a cryptocurrency on it. And I believe that cryptocurrencies are the new form of derivative. They are not the futures and options. They are the new derivative contract where you don't have to hold it. It's the same kind of concept as fiat money. Fiat money used to be that, where they would back the dollar with gold. But now they don't back the dollar by anything. It's backed by your belief that it's valuable. So as long as you believe it's valuable, it'll be valuable. And you can see that by the way the dollar rallies or shrinks, and you have to look at what's going on around the world. So like when the other countries around the world are collapsing, guess what? They don't want to hold their own currencies. They're afraid of their own governments. If they have no trust in their own currencies, what are they going to trust in? What's always been trusted, the US dollar for now. And you will see a rally in the US dollar. And for us in the US, that means hell, because it means deflationary pricing, and it means a slowdown in our economy. Because if you're a producer in our economy and you see prices drop, you're going to wait. A producer is almost like a speculator. They're not going to produce anything until they see a higher price, and then they will sell it to you. A producer will wait. Prices will drop, and then maybe when they see prices settle, they'll start producing for you. So you get a slowdown in economic activity because producers are speculators. Especially if, man, if they're getting credit to run their business, they take a loan, they are super speculators because you don't know the future. And now you are guaranteed you are an investment for somebody else because you're paying every month for that money to, you know, for you to borrow that money and gain access to all the factors of production you'll need to produce when you finally decide to do that. So if you're a producer and you're borrowing money at this point and you're seeing prices drop, boy, you're going to get hurt big time because you're going to continue to pay your credit card bill, your loan bill, your business loan bill, and you're not going to be able to sell whatever you buy on that credit at a profit because the prices are going to be dropping. So everybody needs to understand the difference between speculation and investment. And if you understand the difference between speculation and investment, it will help you manage what's going on in these times. But ultimately, there may be a period of time where we're going to need to barter because there may be a time when they may just throw currency at the system to try to get prices to rise because they'll devalue the currency. And if that's the case, you're going to have to find another way to do business because if the dollar goes in the toilet, they'll wait. They'll wait till the value of the dollar is going high and everybody's like, what's going on? It's depression. And then they'll cause hyperinflation to try to get us out of it. And you have to know how to get out of that too. That's what I see the cryptocurrencies doing because cryptocurrencies are an escape from fiat currency. Governments create fiat currency. Cryptocurrencies depends on who the developer is. You have to really do research on your cryptocurrencies. You could get what's known as a shit coin, where they just want to raise money and they float this coin that has no value, and idiots buy it and they keep selling the coin to you, and then eventually they walk away from the coin. And there's no value to it, and you're left holding the token. But there are others that are going to be used as money, and they've planned it out. They've capped the amount. Like Bitcoin is capped on how much can be produced. So do I believe Bitcoin can go to $1 million a Bitcoin eventually? Yeah, I think it could. Is it going to do it anytime soon? Probably not. And is $5,000 too high price? No, you could see 4,000. You could see 3,000. Does that mean you shouldn't buy it? No, that's up to you. It's up to you as a speculator. Have you done your homework? Do you know when the price is going to stabilize? Do you feel like the price will stabilize at 5,000? Then buy some at 5,000. The way I see it as a speculator, if you don't have access to the market, if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, what difference does it make to you? You didn't spend any money on it. You'll never be rich, but you won't lose any money. You'll just be nobody, just floating. To me, that's not how you play I'm a speculator. I don't find any interest in that. I want access to a market. If I believe Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million, I want some. And I have some Bitcoin, but do I have a lot of it? No. I don't expect it to do that for a long time. I expect it to be kind of, I want people to stop talking about Bitcoin before I really start buying Bitcoin again. When a lot of people are talking about Bitcoin, it's not a good time to buy. Instead, what I do is I'm buying Litecoin, and I'm using my Litecoin. If I feel Litecoin's a little bit high, I will trade it for some Bitcoin and then go into another cryptocurrency, unless I can do an atomic swap directly from Litecoin to that currency that I want, altcoin that I want. And there are some tokens, utility tokens. That's the thing you also know about cryptocurrencies. Some are currencies and some are utility tokens. So you have to know the difference. Like you can't use an arcade token. Maybe they don't use. I haven't been to an arcade in years, but back